Hey everybody, and welcome to our weekly MeetRoost call. My name is Tabitha Thomas. I am a member of Ben's world-class team, and I'm super excited to be here with you all. Today, I get the privilege of introducing the person we always turn to with any Facebook questions at all. She is truly an expert at it, and we're thrilled to have her. She's going to be showing us how to rescue and optimize your Facebook ad campaigns to keep your clients happy. Now, this will also include her mind map of her decision-making processes that you guys will be able to download that once our replay is available. It is my privilege to introduce you guys to our Facebook ads expert, Liana Ling with Power Up Strategy. Liana, can you hear us?
I can hear you loud and clear. Hi, Meet Roosters.
If you guys can hear her coming through or actually see her on our screen there, give us a one in the box.
I'm representing today too. Meet Roost. Here we go.
I love it. All right, looks like we're coming through just fine. So Liana, I'm gonna pause, I'm gonna mute myself out, let you take it from here. Guys, if you have questions, I can interrupt her as we're going, so make sure you pop those into the chat box. If you do have questions, put a QQQ in the beginning at the front of your question, and then we'll get to it as we go. So Liana, you got.
Okay, great. Thank you so much, Tabitha. I'm really excited to be here with you guys today. And let me just share with you what I hope we'll be able to fit into the hour here. I'm going to walk you through how I optimize ads, and I'm going to walk you through this mind map that I created, which basically took my decision-making process and I put it into a mind map, and I've had a lot of great feedback from it in terms of how people have used it to optimize their ads. I also know that sometimes ad campaigns fail. I have campaigns that fail every single day, and that's okay. And I'm going to share with you how to also rescue them as well. We've also got time to do a hot seat, because I do find, at least for me too, when I see somebody go through something live, I actually learn so much better. And hopefully we'll have a bit of time at the end. I just wanted to touch on some Facebook policy pitfalls, and especially what happens when you're running ads during interesting times like now during a pandemic, which is very different from when everything is quote unquote normal. So I'm going to jump in, and I'm going to start by sharing my screen and showing you a really old campaign. And I'm going to walk you through and show you the matrix that I created so you can kind of see how it all works. But if you have any questions, as Tabitha said, please do put them in the chat. Tabitha will let me know. I welcome interactive webinars and trainings as much as possible, because I think that's how you work best. So please don't hold anything back. Literally ask anything. I'm very open, transparent, and I'm just here to help you succeed and make your clients happy, as Tabitha said. So let's dive right in. I'm going to pull up, first of all, I'm going to pull up sort of the mind map version of the matrix, and I've downloaded this as a PDF as well, so that you can actually access it with the replay. And just a few notes about using this matrix. It's really meant to be a guideline, because Facebook, I mean, all the other networks are like this, but Facebook more so it changes a lot. And the other thing we notice too is that, especially with Facebook, different ad accounts seem to have different personalities. Some ad accounts like campaign budget optimization, some don't. Some ad accounts like high daily budgets, some don't. So you have to also try and figure out how the ad account works. I don't know if some of you are using your own ad account for agency ads, if you're using a client's ad account or anything like that, but you'll start to figure out what the personality is. So what this matrix is it gives you a systematic way of walking through how to analyze your ads and optimize them. And then it helps you through that. I think it also helps you to get rid of issues like, okay, it's not this, maybe it's this, it's not this, maybe it's this. But then you can adjust based on the personality of your ad account, okay? I'm also not going to spend too much time, unless we need to, in terms of setting things up. So I'm going to assume already that you know how to set up a basic ad campaign and you know some of the basic terminology, I will definitely happy to answer any questions there, but just to let you know, because I want to make sure that we're able to cover everything. So the way it starts here is I always start here, I ask, and this is also like a variety of questions for you to ask in your brain as you're going through your ad campaigns. The first thing is, has it been running for at least 72 hours? Ben always says, you know, make sure to make your ads bake long enough. And I totally agree with this. So has it been running for at least 72 hours to a week, or getting at least 500 to 1,000 impressions? Some of you may be running ads on a very small budget, which is okay. Some have higher budget. You want to make sure that you let it bake enough just to get things going. So if you're on a very small budget, I would actually let it run for more than 72 hours. You might have to let it run for 5 days or up to a week just to get enough impressions. And then if you have a high budget, I still don't want to do anything after a day. Like I run some campaigns where, you know, it's a couple $100s a day, but I still am not going to make decisions after 24 hours. It still needs that time just for things to settle in. I would also add probably a little bit more time as well if this is a very brand new account and a brand new pixel as well, because if your pixel has no data, it's not going to have anything to pull from in order to, you know, build up how to optimize your campaign. So just keep those in mind as you start. So make sure you have that running, because I do find a lot of times people turn their ads off way too quickly. Okay? Once you're past
We do
there,
have one question.
oh yes, please do.
So Oscar asked, what's the best way to run ads for local clients? Get them into your ad account or get them to create their own ad accounts and request access?
Okay, that's a great question. And it's a little bit of a debate because it depends how you're billing. So if you're billing and you're including the ad spend, where I say, hey, you know what? Pay me $2,000. I'm going to do everything. I'll take care of the budgets. I'll take care of everything. I'm just going to deliver ads to you. Then, and I'm doing it from my own Facebook page, I would do it all inside of my own account. Okay. But what I tend to do actually is, no matter for clients, I prefer, this is just my personal preference, I prefer to use the client's ad account. And so I would have them add me as a partner. And what you want to do too is you want to make sure that you only have one page for the one account. You can actually run different accounts to one page, and I'll go into that when we go into the policy side of it. That's a bit of a strategy for having like an insurance account. But in general, you want to have one page, one pixel per account. So you don't want to sign up like a dentist to Cairo, or even like 5 Cairos, and have 5 different pages and run them all from one account. Okay, does that make sense? You'd want, in that case, you want to have one account for each of those, and then you can add yourself as a partner. You can do it in 2 ways, and I can do a video on that if people need that. You can actually have Facebook generate a link that they send to you, and you click on it, and then you get added, or you can give them your business account ID. They put that in, and you get added as well. I do find it's a little bit safer as well, in terms of protecting yourself, because sometimes Facebook treats the admins of an account a little bit more harshly if something goes wrong with the account, rather than somebody who's just a partner. So that to me is the safest way of doing it. And you want to get added as a partner to their ad account and to their pixel and to their page. Another plus for this as well is if you have people that help you, like for example, I have a junior ads buyer who works with me. I just add him to my own business and I can give him access to different things, and I don't have to bother the client with giving them access to my team. So I just find it's also more professional that way. And I might not necessarily want the client to see the identities of my team, right? Because I'm the one that they work with. So hopefully that's helpful to you. Okay, so
You got some awesome.
okay, great. So the first thing I want to do is, you know, if it hasn't been running, obviously keep it running. The next thing I want to ask is, have there been any conversions? So I know that some of you are running traffic campaigns and some of you are running conversion campaigns. If you are, here, let me just get into an ad. This is just one of my ad accounts here. When you go and you create a campaign, you have several different objectives here. So what Facebook likes to do is it likes to deliver what you ask. If you're asking for video views, it's going to put it in front of people who are more likely to watch the video. If you put it in front of traffic, it's going to put it in front of people who are most likely to click. And if you put it in front of conversions, it's going to give you people that it thinks is most likely to convert. So in the past, I used to run a lot of traffic ads if I knew the campaign actually converted well. But what I found, just for me personally, in all the campaigns that I have been running in the past year, I found that conversion campaigns work way better for me than traffic. So even if you have like a tiny budget, and I've done this before on like $5 a day, where we're just looking to get opt-ins, I will run a conversion ad. I am going to show you how I use traffic ad campaigns when I'm rescuing a campaign, but in general, I will always do conversions because I'm asking Facebook to look for opt-ins for me, and that's what I wanted to start doing. So let me go back over here to the matrix. So that's why I asked here, do you have any conversions? Okay. And that's what you really want to focus on. And then let's go to the next thing. So have there been any conversions? Okay, so let's just say no, there aren't any conversions. And here it says now you go to optimize for performance. So let's go over here, and I'm going to go into a campaign to show you this. So here I've started to ask questions about the stats on the ad. So the first thing is I'm trying to go from the top down, just so you know how this is structured, because I want to start from, is anybody actually interacting with your ad? If nobody's interacting with your ad and nobody's clicking through on your ad, then it doesn't matter if your landing page is working well or not, because they're not even seeing your landing page, right? So that's why I try and work from the top down. I want to see, okay, is the ad working well? Once we know we've got the ads working really well, then we can look at the landing page and see how the landing page is working. So I want to make sure I take care of the ads, and then if it's still not working, we want to take a look at our landing page. And if our landing page doesn't work, then I would actually look at the offer, or I might look at the audience. So that's just sort of the big picture here that we're going to take a look at. So I've actually pulled up a really old, well, not really old, but kind of an older campaign here that I'm no longer running. And by the way, these are blank here for the quality rankings, because at the time I ran it, it didn't have those particular rankings. So let's just take a look here. So the first thing I actually like to look at is I like to look at CTR all, which stands for click-through rate all. Not everybody likes to do this, but I actually find it helpful, because if it is below 3%, and I just picked that because in general, when I do ads, I know I usually can get a 3% or higher. I think my record is something like 15%, which is crazy, right? But I look at this here because this tells you how many people have actually stopped their scroll and click through to the actual ad. If it's very low, then this actually tells me that I probably need to test more different creatives, because it's not compelling enough for people to stop their scroll. You do have to remember that Facebook is always interrupting people. It's not like Google search where somebody's searching, I need to fix my car right now, and it shows up. We're interrupting people. So we want them to stop the scroll in sort of also like a non-spammy way. So I'll look at this first, and here like I have a whole bunch here, but you can see I had some here that were actually pretty good, and then I have some down here that weren't so great, right? I was testing. Another reason, by the way, is I had a lot of ads in here because I was running it very quickly to try and win a contest. So that's why. But you can see here, I look and see, okay, how is the click-through rate overall? The next thing I look at is I look for the link click-through rate, because once you get somebody to click through and actually stop and look at your ad, then I want to know, hey, are they actually clicking through to the landing page? Again, you could have an ad that has like a 10% click-through rate overall. So your creative's really good. It looks interesting to people. But then if I see the click-through rate to the link is too low, like I look for under 2%. 2% is good for a link click-through rate. If that's too low, that tells me that that the copy isn't working well, like the copy in the body or the headline. So let me show you an example. I'll just preview this ad here. Let's just take a look here. Okay, so for this ad here, if the click-through rate to the link was very low, then the first thing I would actually change is I would test this headline here. See where it says tap here to grab your free copy? I just find for me, changing the headline on the ad makes the biggest difference. I'll leave the button as learn more. You can test that afterwards, but I always go for the copy first if the link click-through rate isn't working well. I just leave it as learn more for everything until I finish testing all the copy here. So I'll test this, and then I'll also change, and if that doesn't work, then I'll also test different formats of copy up here. Whoops. Under the showing here under over here, which is like the text part. And I'll test 3 different versions. I'll test short, medium, and long versions. You may read somewhere that people say, hey, long form ads don't work or short form ads don't work. You know what? They all work. So it just depends on your ad account's personality. It depends on your audience. It's definitely worth testing every single time. The other thing I'll take a look at too is I'll take a look at, am I using emojis, right? So one of the ad campaigns that I'll look at, there's like a few emojis in there. You want to make sure you don't have too many. Like I never put emojis one after the other. I'll make sure like if I use a single emoji, I'll put it in there. And like I said, I'll test different variations of it as well to put to see if that also helps too. Just because sometimes, especially if you have long ones, you want to take a look at it as well on your phone because sometimes it just looks like a wall of text. So that could also be why people aren't clicking through. So that's what I mean
Got a
here
couple
when
questions for you.
yeah, go for it.
Okay. John asked, what kind of ad is that with a question on the front?
Ooh, good question. So the cool thing is actually if you do a video ad, you can actually put a poll in front of it. And so you can ask any question you want, and it can actually let you put in a link for each one of them. Now for this one, again, I was in a rush and there's no way I was creating another landing page. So I just created a poll here and I asked a question and each question went to the same landing page. But you can literally put like a yes or no question or like, do you like cats or dogs? And when they click on it, it can go through to another landing page. So it's actually kind of a neat feature that I don't see enough people testing out, but it's definitely worth testing. And it only works when you upload a video to your ad, to the ad.
Okay, got one more. When you're testing, you duplicate the ad or just edit and get them in review once again?
Yeah, so let's go back to the matrix over here. So what I'll do is once I kind of take a look at that, I'm testing how are the CTRs going, okay? Then I'll also take a look at, before I turn it off, I also want to know, well, also how is it performing day to day? Like over the last couple of days, have the costs been increasing or decreasing? Because if the costs are decreasing, maybe you just have to let it go for a little bit longer and let the algorithm kind of work on it. And if it's increasing, then that gives you an indication, okay, like this is going in the wrong direction. So in that situation, I might actually turn it off. I'll also take a look at the ad rankings. Again, in the example I showed you, it didn't have it active, but I'll also take a look at the quality, right? If the quality is all above average, I'll consider leaving it on. But I'll most likely turn it off if it's just not converting well, and also if the costs, like it seems to be getting more and more expensive and the conversions are not going well. So this is what I'm also gonna, so what I would do is, first of all, I never ever, unless I know for sure I'm never going to use it again, I never ever turn off campaigns or ad sets. I just turn off ads. Okay? Usually if you keep it off for like more than a couple of days, yes, it can restart the learning curve and things like that. But I find it has less of a negative impact if you turn off ads only and then you turn the ad back on later if you want to use it again. Again, test it out with your ad account because like I said, every ad accounts are slightly different, but that's what I do to be on the safe side. So this is not a good example because this one I went nuts and put in like a ton of different ads, and also it's older. So nowadays what I do is I find that ad sets work better when it doesn't have too many ads in it. So I don't even want to, like in general, I'll have like maybe 5 ads in an ad set. I'll go up to 10, but after that, I don't want to add any more in there. So if this ad, for example, is not working, I'll turn it off. I would duplicate it and, you know, do whatever test I want on it. But if I have 10 ads already, then what I'll probably do is create a new ad set or a new campaign. If I'm doing ABO, which is ad account level optimization, then I'll create a new ad set. If I'm doing CBO, campaign ad optimization, I'll duplicate a new campaign. And you can see here when you, let me just do this one here. When I create a new campaign, you can actually choose whether it is campaign budget optimization or not campaign budget optimization. I tend to start with CBO, which is what we call campaign budget optimization. You don't have to. I just like to see how it performs well, and I'll use both. So I'll just test both and see which ones work best in an ad account. So I hope that answers your question. Also, again, thinking of how it's performing, if you notice that anything you do doesn't seem to move the needle at all, I'll also create a new campaign just to try it out, because sometimes you just have to create a new one, okay? Do you have any more questions from that? I don't think so. Okay, great. So
No,
after,
nope, we're good.
okay. Yeah, so this is what I'm actually joining, and I'm going to do this for every single audience that I test. Now, I know a lot of you are running local ads, so a lot of times you're probably just doing geography, right? So you probably can't change your audience too much, and so that's why you really have to take a look at your creatives, and you have to take a look at your click-through rates. So then also, I'll also take a look at other things too. So I'll take a look at if we've exited the learning phase or not, okay? So that's when you're getting 50 plus conversions a week. Now, this depends on what your conversion rate is and what your budget is. Maybe you can't afford to get to over 50 conversions a week. Usually once you get to over 50 conversions a week, it does start to stabilize and you'll get out of the learning phase. However, don't get too obsessed with that, okay? I get a lot of people asking me questions and freaking out that they haven't exited the learning phase. And you know, I have some campaigns that are doing very, very well and are quite profitable, and they haven't exited the learning phase yet. And I don't stress too much about it, because if I'm getting the results that I want, I don't stress too much about helping it get out of that learning phase, okay? But you want to check and see, like, are you getting enough conversions? If you're not getting enough, it just may not have enough data. So it just may be an indicator that you have to just wait a bit longer to make more changes, okay? So I have a couple other steps in here as well if you're not getting any conversions, and I'll just quickly walk through this. Then I want to get into a hot seat, because I know we're going to be able to cover especially like how to choose images and things like that. So it may sound a little bit too basic, but if I'm not getting conversions, like it's been a couple of days, I'm getting 0 conversions, I actually look at technology first. Because in my experience, 9 out of 10 times, technology is the problem. So make sure you go and actually test your opt-in page with like a different email address. You know, you can use the Gmail trick where you put a plus sign, so it's like your name plus sign and at gmail.com. That looks like a new email address, but it just gets sent to your regular email address. Test that out. Make sure the opt-in is actually working. The second thing you want to do is make sure the pixel is actually firing. So you know, hopefully you all kind of know about the free pixel helper that you can get in Chrome to check if your pixel is firing. Make sure it's green, it's not yellow or red. Make sure that your event is set up properly and firing. Like if you're doing a conversion campaign for leads or a complete registration or something like that, make sure it's actually firing and there's no problems. I always go to that first, because most of the time it's some type of tech issue. It's whether it's like your page isn't working, the shopping cart isn't working, or like the pixel just stopped working for some strange reason and you have to fix that, okay? So I stress it because it sounds basic, and a lot of times people skip that, and then you just waste so much time and effort when it was just a technology issue. The other thing you want to check too is a lot of times your traffic is going to come on your phone. Check how your page looks on your phone, and I don't mean just squish it down on your browser. Like literally pick up your phone, check it on your phone, have a friend check it on their phone and see how it looks. I've had situations where, I told the client, look, like we did it, and I showed them on the phone. Somebody on the phone could literally not put in their email address because some type of element was actually covering the form, and that's why it didn't work. So just check that as well. The other thing, the next thing I have here
I have one
is,
question.
yeah, go ahead.
Sorry. Is the landing page load time something to keep an eye on? How do you optimize that?
Yeah, definitely. Landing page load time is huge. So I'm going to pick on Oscar here because he actually submitted one. Here's one of his landing pages. So you want to check the whole experience, okay? You want to see, and you can actually tell too what people are doing with your ads, by the way. You just go down here, go to breakdown and choose by delivery. So I'll look here, like look at placement and device, for example, or you can do platform and device, and it'll tell you like, wow, look at this. All these things are coming from mobile. So I better make sure it's a really good experience on mobile. And a good experience on mobile means it loads quickly, right? And it also means like it's easy to find stuff. Because again, like I have a tiny phone. I'll show you guys. No judgment. I have a really old iPhone, okay? But it's small, right? So if I have a landing page on here, I know sometimes, this type of a headline, it may not be optimized for mobile. So sometimes people have a headline, it literally feels like your whole phone. So you want to make sure like it's something that people can scroll through. If you have a pop-up, especially, you want to test that on your phone, make sure that works. And yeah, and definitely make sure it loads fast. You can do different things like put it through Cloudflare possibly, which is free. That can sometimes help. If you have WordPress, there are plugins that you can get as well to help speed it up and speed up your cache. There's so many options. It's hard just for me to say, hey, go with this one option, but do what you can. I know MeetRoost is already very, very fast. So you probably don't have to worry about that too much, I think, if you're actually using MeetRoost. But it's definitely something you want to check out and see, just again, as general advice for anything you're using. And in fact, I use a whole bunch of different tools. I'm constantly testing new page builders just to see if I can get something that's very fast. I know somebody, he switched from WordPress to Unbounce, and the page speed was like insane. It was like under 5 seconds, and his opt-ins also skyrocketed too with that. So that was clearly one of the issues. Okay, any other questions? And no apologies, Tabitha. I welcome any and all questions. That's how we're going to learn. Okay, so the other thing you want to look at here, once you've gone through all of those, is finally, after you've done all those things and your ads still aren't working, then I would suggest taking a look at your audience as the last thing. So maybe you have to change your audience. I want to know, do you have a warm audience or do you have a cold audience? If you have a cold audience and your ads are not converting, what you might want to do is you actually might want to go in here and let's just discard this one that we made. And you might want to create a brand awareness ad. That can be very helpful. What this does is Facebook will show this to people who are most likely to remember the ad. I think it's within 48 hours. That can help. I would also run a video view ad, and I would run an engagement ad. And what I would do is I would put content in there that helps pre-frame people for the offer. So if you're trying to get people to go to like a chiropractor, maybe you have to put like a video out there that's of value that just talks about, I don't know, like posture or I don't know, like back pain or, just anything that's related to that offer that might be educational. If you're doing an engagement campaign, you can even do like a quote or, something educational. I know Ben has a whole bunch of these different packages that are social posts, right? Organically, you can actually take some of those. You might have to shrink some of the text a little bit, but, those have some really good pieces of value that you could actually put in front of people. And especially if you're doing like a local campaign, right? You can put this out there, then you'll know like everybody in the area has kind of seen these. You can just put out a whole ton of those and then retarget the people who have engaged with the Facebook posts and also people who have watched the video, and see if that helps, because they're a little bit more warm, like, and they're more problem aware and they're more brand aware at that point too. Sometimes I'll just leave a Facebook like ad or like a brand awareness ad up. I'll just put it at $2 a day and I'll just keep it up all the time. Many times I have video ads up all the time and engagement ads up. I just keep them running, just because it just helps to warm everybody up, and it just makes it seem like you're quote unquote everywhere and they don't just see that one ad asking for something. So sometimes that can really help boost your campaign. And if you have to explain it to a client, what you want to do is you might have to just sell it to them as just like a pilot. Say, hey, you know what? This isn't working. Let's try this. And what I do is I explain to them, I say, ads mirror and amplify the customer journey. And usually they get it when we talk about that. And say, look, if this is what it takes for a customer to come to you, then ads just help to amplify and accelerate that. So if you find that customers come to you because they realize like they need their neck adjusted or whatever, then you have to explain to them, well, we have to try and get that into their heads first before they see your offer. Okay. So
Okay, got
that's
2
how
more
I
questions.
approach. Yeah.
Okay. Does it make sense to start with brand awareness campaign when marketing a new business or Facebook page?
Yep, I actually do both. So especially if it's a brand new ad account, for a week, I'll run only value stuff in there. I won't even try any conversion ads. So I'll do both. I'll do like and I'll do brand awareness. I just like, the reason I like to put up paid Facebook like ads is those tend to get approved very quickly and those tend not to get reviewed too much. So it's like really easy to put it up. It's a great way for you to show Facebook, hey, Facebook, I know how to put up ads that people like. So those two are good to put up, even if it's like each one is $2 a day, put them up, and just leave them running if it's working well. What was the other
Gotcha. I
question?
got 2 more actually.
Yeah, hit me up.
What is better, video ads or image ads?
Depends. Both. I mean, I would do both. Just, oh, by the way, when you're doing engagement, do not put a video in there for engagement, because Facebook counts one engagement as like a certain amount of video as past your screen. So you'll get like artificially inflated engagement numbers. But I would say both. I like video just because if you can get people to ingest your video, they actually learn more and they get more information in them. But actually both work. I think both work.
Okay. And then the next question is, do you treat local campaigns differently with targeting since the audience are restricted based on geography?
Yeah, you know what, for local, and I do this for a photography company, at first I would be layering all these interests on, and then you know what? I just said, forget this. I just did it geography. Like I literally just put in zip codes and that's it. If it's a very, very big city, you might want to layer on an interest. And the only other thing I would do too is I would put male or female if it happens, like this one photography company is just for women. So I only choose women. Or I do one for my mom's school, and like I'll only choose parents, clearly, right? Because that's what's relevant. But most of the time I'll just leave it wide open. And if you have like whatever if it's like 50,000 people or 20,000 people, I just want to blanket them and let them self-select. So it's what we call like a pull mentality versus a push marketing. We want to attract them to the ad. Sure, not everybody's going to need a gym or need a chiropractor or need a dentist, but that's okay, because you'll just let them self-select. And you know what? They may need to have it at some time. If you talk to Zach Hammer about real estate ads, he's always talking about, like trying to get people at the event before they need the house. So think of it this way too with local, like you just want to build that awareness so that you're top of mind before they actually need it. And then that way, when they need it, they'll be like, oh, right, I thought I saw something about that, right? Hope that makes sense.
Okay, I got 2 more that popped in since then.
Yeah.
Sorry. I do a number of real estate ads, and Facebook severely limits any targeting. Interest are all that I can use. Is there anything else that you use for real estate, like renting and selling?
Yeah, Zach Hammer would actually be the best person to talk about this, but if you're doing real estate and you're stuck in the special category, you're kind of stuck there because of the rules that Facebook has in place for real estate. The only thing I can tell you is just try and, make your ad attractive to the right people and just put it in front of a broader audience. But Zach would be a better person to, I think, ask that question. Maybe in the Facebook group, we can ask that Tabitha,
That's
and
what
I
I
know he'd be happy to answer
that's
it.
what I was about to say.
Yeah.
Go ask that in the Facebook group, tag Zach Hammer. I'll send you how to spell his name and you can ask him in there. And then one more question. How do you run a like campaign?
Yep. So like campaign, you can't do it directly from here. Let me pull one up for you. Just give me a moment. So you have to do it from the page. Okay. So let me go to, apologize. I'm just waiting for it to pop up here. You have to go to the page and you have to say that you want to promote the page. And then once you do it, it actually pops up in your ad account at the end of the day after you start it. So here we go. So here's like one of the pages here. I'm just going to click promote. So you have to be here. And then I'm just going to click promote. And then I go promote your page. Okay. And I'm like, whatever. So here you can actually choose, I don't know why it defaults to that, but anyway, I can choose whatever I want here. Whatever. And then I can choose the budget and everything else here. And then once I click promote now, when you go back into your ad account, it'll actually show up here as a like campaign. And then inside of here, you can actually adjust it. So here, when I'm doing it at the front here, I may say, hey, just run it for 5 days. Then once I have it running, I can actually go in the back end here and I can adjust, hey, like let it keep running every single day. And then I can duplicate it in here as well over and over and over again. But you have to start it over here. I know it's a bit annoying that you have to do that, but it's the only way to get that like campaign going. Okay. All right, so let's keep going. And again, yeah, just interrupt me anytime. So okay, so I thought we'd run into Oscar's campaigns. So he actually submitted 2 different campaigns. One was for a law firm and one was for himself. So let me go through here and I might have some questions. So Oscar is here on the line. And so Tabitha, I might have you bring him on, especially if I need him to share his screen. Okay, so maybe you want to tee him up for that. So here
Yes,
he's going
ma'am.
to make the first thing, and here's his copy here. Now I know that Oscar's a really good copywriter, so I usually don't have too much more to say about this. I would say though, if you have an ad account that is just very sensitive. Like some of them just are in terms of getting disapprovals. One of the things I would do is if you have to be very, very conservative and very careful is I would remove any all caps because Facebook sees all caps as like a spam flag. I'm not saying you have to do this all the time. I'm just saying if you have to be very conservative, and also if you have to be very conservative, I don't use words like click on because it's seen as engagement bait. But if you don't have any issues with that, you can definitely do it. I mean, part of marketing is like, how do you push the envelope while still staying compliant? So I don't have, like I said, I think this is very good, strong copy, but again, he's a really, really good copywriter. Okay, so I don't have too much to say here. What I would do is I would go over here. Now, he sent this here for targeting, so I'm not sure what this means. I don't know if he's like retargeting or not, but this was the image that he gave. So, and I blew it up a little bit, so it's a little bit blurry. What I would do here is, so how I'm understanding it is this is for, you know, somebody who's like considering bankruptcy. Now, you definitely don't want to put in a picture that looks like somebody is shocked or, is just looking really sad and angry because Facebook wants everybody to be happy. Facebook wants to think everybody's happy and we have no problems whatsoever. Okay, so you have to keep that in mind. He's on the right track in terms of having people in here. I wouldn't even put a logo on the image. I actually go straight into Shutterstock. I have a Shutterstock license, but in Facebook, you can actually choose stock images and it pulls from Shutterstock and you don't have to pay for it. The reason I might pay to download an image is because I might want to crop it in a certain way. Sometimes I like to pump up the contrast as well. But this is like a good image to try because they're happy, like it's showing the result at the end of the day, like they're stress free, right? So this is a good one to start with. I wouldn't put the logo on there. I just want it to look really natural. And if when I'm looking for other images, I would test more than just this. So this is like a couple, and they're kind of sitting side by side. I would also try and find maybe people looking at the camera. I might even, like, what's he asking them to do here? Like, okay, reading a fee report. I literally might even find somebody who's like looking at their phone or like their computer and looking happy. So what I'll do is I'll just go to Shutterstock, and you don't even have to, I don't think you have to log in, but I just go here and try and find, like, maybe I want to find a happy, you can start off with looking for happy couple or happy smiling couple. You know, and you want to look for stuff that doesn't look too stock photo-y, okay? Like, so this looks very posed, right? And these ones look really posed. We see these a lot. The more you do this, the more you start to kind of get a look and feel. I don't know, I might even try something like this but this looks more like a new house, but I might crop in a little bit because it looks like they're happy. We don't want any relationship ones. So maybe I want like a happy woman phone. Like I might want to just find something where she's like looking at her phone, right? And she's reading something and it's making her look really happy, or like maybe over here, right? Like she's just drinking coffee. It doesn't look too posed. Like I said, sometimes I go with these ones where it's a little bit faded, but I do like something that's a little bit more up contrast. This is too posed. I went to something like that. This is a more natural pose, but I feel like she looks too young for that type of an ad. So I would just find, you know, like I said, I just find different poses. So not just like this, but try like somebody looking right at the, like I said, like at the camera. Like here, she's kind of like looking up, you know, kind of at you, more of a face there. I don't know, but I might pick a different model just because maybe she looks too young. I'm not sure. Um, let's see here. Are they at, or even if you have like happy people talking to lawyers, like I don't know if you have that. They have this here, happy couple lawyer, like they're just sitting at a desk talking to somebody looking really happy. Like maybe this, like this to me looks posed. This looks too posed. You don't want people like shaking hands. Again, that's like very stock photo-y, but this looks a little bit more natural to me. I don't know. What I want to do is I just want to have a variety that we're actually testing with instead of just the one, like just the one kind of pose there. Okay. Is Oscar on? Tabitha, is he on?
Not yet, but I can put him on.
Okay, that's fine.
I can't. Do you want video or audio?
It doesn't matter. Up to him.
Let
Hey,
me
Oscar.
unmute him. Give me 2 seconds. I'm still trying to hit my buttons.
Sure. Another thing I would do actually while she's trying to get him on, don't worry, is I would also test video as well. So not just this, but I would test video, and you can do really simple stuff. So I pulled up a couple of different, sorry, I'm watching the time. I want to make sure I get through everything. So I pulled up a couple different sites that I use because sometimes I find video just works really well for these types of things. And what I'll do is I'll literally just take the copy from the landing page and I'll throw it into a video. So I'll use, let me see if I can find it here. I have used in the past Promo. So let me see if I can pull that up for you. I have used Promo in the past because they have like these really easy to use templates here. You just pull it up. Another one I like to use too is Wave Video. I lost the tab here for a moment. So Wave Video is, I find it less expensive than Promo, but again, they just have these things, they're already done for you. You just have to go into it. Like, I don't know, like I'll just pick any of these here. So I'll just pick this here. You just go into it, you can choose your size, and you just put in the text that you want. And like I said, a lot of times I'll just put in, for each sort of screen, I'll just put in the text from the landing page and just like change out the images. And it's a 15, to 30-second video. That can actually work really well. Promo has some of these as well. The only thing with Promo is I just find that you have less flexibility in terms of where you want to put your text. You can also use Crello. Crello also has the ability to do like these cool animated ones, and I think that they have some pretty good templates for local. And before we get to Oscar, you can also use Canva. So like I would just choose animated social media, and you could literally just put, build like just literally, I'm all for templates. So I would just pick a template, change stuff around, and then just have that go. And if it's only a few seconds, like 15 seconds, it'll just keep going on. It'll just keep playing automatically. So that's another way to get people's attention. And sometimes I'll do even like a little mini VSL, but again, that's a little bit more I think advanced for people. But literally just take the wording from the landing page and throw it into like a really, really short video and see if that helps as well. Okay, great. Oscar, are you on?
I hope so. Can you hear me?
Awesome, great. So for the lawyer one, did you try different images, or was that the only image you tried?
Yeah, so I tried 3 different images that, like you said, Facebook didn't like because one of them was not too happy couple, and the
Okay.
other one was just an empty hand, just looking at different bills all over the place. And
Okay.
they like this one, so I kept this one on.
Okay, great. Yeah, again, notice they're happy. So I think you're going in the right direction there. Let's look at the second one you sent, which was for your agency, and your copy was really long. So I'm just putting it up here on the screen in Word because it was really long. I would try a short and a medium version as well. And by short, I mean like what I do actually is I go into the Facebook ads library. I do this. I go to Facebook ads library here. I don't know if you guys know about it. And I spy a lot on how Facebook does ads because I figure they must know stuff that we don't. So I look at the portal from Facebook ads. So Oscar, you might want to take a look at those too, just to get a feel of the really short copy that they do there. I know it's not the same, it's not services, but they're pretty good about just doing really short to the point ads. And I'm even surprised that sometimes they put emojis in a row. But anyway, just take a look there, like it's like 1 or 2 sentences. So sometimes that actually works really well too. So I would try that.
Liana, would you recommend doing short ad copy and long landing page rather than long copy and short landing page?
I would keep the landing page the same and try short, medium, and long copy. Okay. And again, note here, Oscar's smart in that he knows how to format the copy so that it doesn't look like a wave of text at you. This is a long copy one, but it doesn't look like it's not going to look like a huge just block of text when you look at it. One thing to note is this one goes to this landing page here. I would put more copy on here, Oscar. Never assume that people read everything, because I just find in general people don't read that much. And when it's that long, you also have to click to see the whole post. People might just be clicking through and then not reading everything. So don't assume that they read everything. And even when you have a video, don't assume people have ingested everything in the video as well. One of the tricks I have is if I have an ad that is actually getting really good click-through rates with a video, I'll make sure the same video is on the landing page. And a lot of times my ads are literally like mirrors of the landing page because people just don't read, and then they need to have it reinforced. So I would put more here. I actually went through my landing page collection. So I collect landing pages, and I have here, this might be overkill, but just to give you an idea, this here was Selena Sue's book a call landing page. Again, this was for her program, but I think it gives you a better idea of how she basically set it out like a sales page. She's got her video on here. She's got, it is set out like a sales page, but the whole point of this was to get people to book a free call. So again, you don't necessarily have to go at this length because this was for her signature program, but I would definitely add more on here to make it more enticing. The only reason I would make this short is if you were retargeting to people who already knew about the call and you were basically saying, hey, just a reminder, you forgot a book. Okay. So that's what I would do here, just to add some more. The other thing too is you sent in a GIF for the image.
Yes.
I would be very careful because, again, this is a bit anecdotal, but I actually used to have a client where he put arrows on everything on his videos and stuff like that, and all of his ad accounts got disabled. They thought it was way too spammy. So I would, if you're doing YouTube ads, you can put arrows. And I would actually have a different landing page if you're doing YouTube ads. But for Facebook, I would not have these arrows on there. And I wouldn't even do something like this. I would do something more similar to the image you used for the bankruptcy stuff. Because you're going after, sorry, for the profit triangle here, this is for your agency, right? So you're going after small businesses.
Yes.
Yeah, Brooklyn business owners. You know what? Like, and you're in Brooklyn, get some pictures, right? Of a typical Brooklyn business owner, right? Or, you know, like the iconic. Okay, so I'm not a New Yorker, I'm a Canadian, but the way I understood whenever I visited anybody in New York is anybody in Manhattan really did not look favorably when I told them I was going to Brooklyn and vice versa. So like, I feel like, right, like Brooklyn people, they want to feel like this isn't somebody who's not local. So if you can put like some of that iconic, I don't know, like artwork or I don't know, something in there, even that picture, that cool picture you had of you walking your dog, like maybe stuff like that, you're walking, I don't know, I'm just throwing this out here, but you might want to put that there and then find maybe like some, or just like some really natural business owner photos to put here. Again, this one's like very posed, but this one doesn't look as posed, or you just have to kind of go through and see which ones might work. I've tried this one before. Again, I've tried this one here for a restaurant. Again, this one looks too posed. I'm just trying to give people an idea of like how I look through stuff to see, hey, like this might capture people's attention, because you want it to kind of look like, hey, here's a snapshot I took of somebody, right? So that's what I would, again, these just look too posed, but this looks a little bit more natural, or this looks more natural, right? I don't know, but that might be something you want to look at. This would be too posed. So you just kind of want to take a look at that, and then you can kind of test and see what works. You could even look, if you're fancy enough, you can take something like this and then just put your page on here on the monitor. But to me, that's too much work. Like I just look for stock photos that might work. I did one for a bike shop where we just took a whole bunch of these pictures of people working on bike shops, and we were targeting bike shop owners, and we were able to get leads that way. And I just picked some, and some were darker, some were lighter, but it was just all Shutterstock ones that we found inside of Facebook.
Nice.
So does that help? And I mean, I think you could also do a video as well. I think this would be really good too. It doesn't have to be you talking. It could just be like doing a video like I just showed you. Or, do like a 1-minute VSL of just you talking into the camera. That might work. It might work, it might not, I don't know, but it's definitely something to test out. But this one just looks a little bit too spammy to me. Make sense?
Yeah, I agree. Thank you. Yes, I'll definitely try that out.
Yeah. Now your targeting for here, what you might want to do is if it's not working well for you, I would just do Brooklyn. I don't know how many that gets you, but I would do Brooklyn and just narrow it down by possibly a small business owner behavior. Or I would do Brooklyn and narrow it down by people who are Facebook page admins. Because you got to figure if they own, like if they're an admin of a page, they're probably some type of decision maker. Right. So that might help too. Sometimes too, like, again, it's broader, but I also might do Brooklyn and then narrow it down by entrepreneurship. That might work too. But again, I just don't know how big your audience is. You might have to just do Brooklyn only and see what happens.
Do you have any recommendations for audience size? Because the more I was testing the audiences or trying to see what audiences, and there were either 100,000 people or 1 million people, what would be a good to not go or to do,
Yeah. In general, I like bigger audiences. Like I like over 1 million, but with local, I understand that that's not always an option, and that's okay. The problem or the challenge you have when you're doing small audiences is that you have to refresh the creative so much more. So you have to have, that's also why, you're putting up value adds. You're just putting different stuff so they don't get fatigued. So you just have to change it out a lot more frequently because you're using up the audience faster. That makes sense?
Right.
Yeah. So that, if you have, frequency. Yeah, exactly. So, but in a way it's good because then you can test things a lot faster, right? Put out a whole bunch of different creatives, like with just with stock photos, with like, again, like maybe you have some real photos of people in Brooklyn that they let you use in the ad. I had one where I'm running ads for a SaaS company, but they hit local pockets. Like we just use the pictures from their case studies. One of them works really well. It's like a couple in front of their store, and there's another lady in her salon, and like it just works better than any of the stock photos. So you never know.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Thank you, Leanna.
And I know you haven't driven a ton of traffic, so you probably aren't able to do sort of the analysis that I went through for the click-through rates, but you know, just again, use those. I would just recommend you kind of use those as your benchmark so you know when to change things out. Is that helpful?
Yeah, thank you so much, Leanna.
Okay,
Appreciate
awesome. Thank you so much for submitting it. Okay, I'm going to move a lot faster here just because we don't have a lot of time. And I did want to also let people know this is, once you've gone through all of this, right? And if your campaign is still flopping, again, this happens all the time to me too. It happens to everybody. So first of all, never feel embarrassed or that you shouldn't reach out to anybody in the group, because we're here to help you. And literally stuff fails for me every single day. And I actually say, if stuff isn't failing for you, then you're probably not testing enough things, okay? But if something fails, I actually do something really pretty straightforward. If I have something and I just can't get it to work, I'll actually turn off the ads and I'll go into Facebook and I'll create traffic ads. I'll just create a traffic ad to the landing page with like a whole bunch of creatives, and I will just only look at the click-through rates of click-through rate all and click-through rate of the link, and I'll run it to like 400 or 500 impressions only, and then I'll turn them off. And I'll just use that as an indicator to me of what probably will work with a conversion ad. And I'll just do a bunch of these very quickly. I'll test headlines, I'll test graphics. That's how I start to rescue a campaign, because sometimes it just takes too long to figure out with conversions, especially if you're not getting enough conversions. So I'll at least try that. I'll say like, hey, let's actually try a whole bunch of different images. Let's try a whole bunch of different headlines. Let's see which ones actually get better click-through rates on the traffic. And what I'm doing there is I'm also looking for stuff that is under 50 cents per link click, or per landing page view, whichever one you want to choose there. And so I'm just looking for the cheapest ones there, and then that also gives me an idea of how to move forward. I'll also look at the landing page. Again, you might not always be able to work on the landing page, because I know you might not be able to control it. But if your campaign is really failing, you have to sit down with your client and say, look, we're sending traffic to you, right? Our ads are doing pretty well. I think there's something going on with the landing page. So I'm just pulling this one up because this is what Oscar had submitted. But what I would do is I would ask them, look, can you test something on the landing page? Can you test the headline? I already gave you one clue. If you're using a video and it's actually pulling really well on the ads, make sure that video is also on the landing page too. Can you install something like Hotjar or something, even just using the free version or a very low paid version even, just so you can measure how are people, like, are people just bouncing the page? Are they scrolling around and they're trying to find a button? Maybe they don't, like, maybe like this one literally needs a button or something to tell people how to, book a call. I don't know. So you want to start to go into there. And then if all else fails, it's probably the offer, and you might have to test a different offer with that audience. So again, those things are just kind of like a staple for me when I'm trying to troubleshoot a campaign, and you have to go through these steps. And if you go through it systematically, you'll be able to start to figure out what's working and what's not working, so you can make these little adjustments. It's really, the secret is really little adjustments and little increments of success to actually help get your campaign better. I mean, I can tell you, we don't have tons of time, but I can tell you I've had campaigns that have just failed for weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks, and we're literally trying everything. And then finally, after like testing different audiences and creatives and kind of going through all of that, we've actually found a combination that just clicked all of a sudden. But it felt all of a sudden, but it was because we did all these different steps just to keep testing things. So sometimes it's a grind, but you have to kind of go through that. And like I said, a lot of times too, it's the offer. Like you just might have to have that discussion with your client going, you know what, this massage offer for this chiropractor, it's just not working. So, let's try something else. Let's try offering something different, because clearly people just aren't interested in this offer. Okay. Now, Tabitha, I know we ran out of time.
For you.
Yeah.
Somebody's asking, Chris is asking, any recommendations for targeting to help lawyers get leads? No demographic for car accident victims, for example. So you just do a general population?
Yeah, I'm assuming you're doing local, right? Using MeetRoost. So I would do general population. You might want to try, let me think. Like, and if you find that good clients are like families or something like that, you might try parents if there's a big enough population. But I would do local. It sounds like it won't work. I get it because it's broad, but it really does. Like I said, this photography one that I'm doing, it's very specific for women, and it just doesn't work when we add in interest. Like I've been doing broad now for over a year with them, and we're going from strength to strength and just like opening up in more and more cities. And every time I just do it by postal code, and we let the ad attract the right people. You probably will have more problems, challenges on that one with compliance, I'm thinking. So you have to think of a clever way to talk about it, that will attract the right people.
Got another question for you. How many ads do you test at one time?
Yeah, so I'll do, I like to have at least 3. So I'll do like 1 ad set and then 3 ads inside of there. And it's a good rule
Okay,
of thumb
we're caught up on
to
questions.
do that. Yeah, okay, great. So, Tabitha, I know we're out of time, and I did want to touch on policy. So if everybody's okay just to hang for just like a few more minutes, I think it's really important. I just wanted to touch on that. And if you have more
Yeah,
in-depth
go ahead.
questions, we can do it in the group. Okay. So as an advertiser on Facebook, and you should always, always, always have the policies up. I can't stress this enough. Okay. Whether we're in a pandemic or normal times, make sure you have these up. They're not written in legalese. They're very easy to read. Don't rely on somebody else's interpretation of it, because it's hard enough, right? Trying to figure out how Facebook's going to interpret it. So make sure you know about this so you're not blindsided and you're able to kind of look at something and think, yeah, that's probably not going to work. Like if you do weight loss, that's an easy one. Do not do before and after pictures. So make sure you have this page up and just bookmark it. I'm constantly looking at this still, even after running all the campaigns that I run, I still look at this very carefully too and keep going through it, because you just have to know it inside and out. The other thing to remember is we're in a pandemic situation. And if you haven't been reading the news, for a while, Facebook's been attacked for like privacy issues and false news and stuff like that. So you have to remember that Facebook is a company just like us. Facebook is a for-profit company just like us, and they have shareholders that they are accountable to. So they also have to take steps to protect themselves. And when it's a pandemic and when we're in a situation like this, they often have to take steps that make things more difficult for us. So for example, they've already told us that they have made a lot of different changes to the way that they go through ads and review them. And what they're trying to do is they are trying to do it all as computerized and automated as possible. And if any of you have ever tried to automate anything, you know that it's really hard. Like even if you use Grammarly or something like that, it doesn't still get the grammar perfect, right? So imagine your Facebook and you have this computer program and you're trying to program it in to say, hey, this and this and this should not be allowed and this is allowed. And Facebook has said because of the situation we're in, you may actually get false positives because they are erring on the side of being too conservative. And as we get closer to the elections and Black Friday, it's going to get really crazy, because what happens is Facebook tends to push out more changes. They push out, they're more conservative with how they want to do compliance. So just be aware of that, in terms of that's what's happening. And what you have to try and do is we try and stay on top of, it's hard though, but we try and stay on top of stuff that'll be like red flags. So you might have heard people say, don't use the word you. Well, I wouldn't necessarily just not use the word you. What that's about is not calling out on people's personal attributes. That's what's really that about. Or when I went over here and we were talking about Oscar's campaign and he was saying, hey, like I use some ads where pictures or people were looking unhappy. Well, you already, if you kind of have gone through all this, you know that Facebook wants everybody to be happy. So then you'll know not to do that anymore, and you know that that's a flag of just like a picture of somebody who just looks really angry, or like I won't put any words or pictures that sound like weapons because that'll probably trigger it. So you got to remember that it's not personal. It is a computer program that Facebook is trying to deploy to make this compliant. So one thing I want to leave with you is if you get a disapproved ad, what you want to do is you want to appeal it, and you want to win that appeal as much as possible. Do anything you can. Put in like a super safe image, put in super safe wording, just so you can win the appeal. This has nothing to do with marketing, okay? This has to do with you winning the appeal. If you keep getting disapprovals, you're more likely just to get shut down. And you can still get shut down anyway, but this helps you kind of erase those black marks. Like you'll get a better reputation if your appeal gets overturned versus you just delete it and it just stays disapproved in your ad account. So that's sort of like my little soapbox thing about how to kind of handle disapprovals. Again, it is still a bit of a luck thing sometimes, and sometimes there's glitches, so just always appeal it. But just make sure you try and do things and stay as compliant as possible. Okay, so that's just sort of like my last word on it. Okay, Tabitha, is there anything else?
I had one more question
Sure.
from Dan. If I'm targeting veterinarians, a social media posting service, should I test an ad campaign with no targeting, like only zip codes, and one which targets veterinarians and Facebook admins?
Yeah, I would try 3. I would try just the zip code that you're going after. I would try zip code and layer on Facebook page admins and business page admins. And then I would try zip code and then layer veterinary. Or even like if you're able to target like they're interested in their veterinary college or something like that, if that is an interest, or a veterinary association. So I would try that.
Okay, one more. In general, I've heard people talk about dropping out of Facebook. As an alternative, is Instagram a good replacement?
Yeah, so in Facebook, right, in terms of the placements, Facebook actually includes Instagram already. And whenever I do stuff here, this is just example one, I actually use auto placements all the time. Not all the time, but most of the time I use automatic placements, and I let Facebook decide. So Facebook will show it in Instagram as well for you. If you're looking to diversify, I would move into Google search and YouTube ads as well. And it's always good to diversify, but I just didn't want to overwhelm people. Facebook is a great place to start. It's really good at finding buyers, and people can opt in for you. But to diversify, YouTube ads and Google ads are also a great way to go. For your local clients, just here's a little tip. A really good value add for your local clients is to offer to set up a branding campaign for them in Google search. That means you set up a very simple Google search campaign for their brand names, and it can be very cheap because probably not a lot of people are looking for their names. But hey, if somebody's looking for their name, they're probably a hot lead, right? And that's probably a good one to have. So you can, that could be like a value add you can add to your local clients, and also to help them to get used to Google ads too, if they're interested in diversifying in the future.
Okay, another question from Oscar. Do you have any tips on retargeting for our clients? I feel like that's a good offer too for local businesses.
Absolutely, yeah. So once you get everything going, like you've got your MeetRoost, I don't have your other link handy. I'm just gonna keep using this one for now. But once you've got your ads going, right, and you're going to the landing page of whatever it is, then set this up as retargeting. Retarget everybody who visited the opt-in page and didn't opt in. Okay. Another thing you want to retarget as well is, let me see if I can do this really quick, is create different audiences for that you can have in here. Hold on, let me just get to that. Hold on, I have to make sure I can get to there and not show you any confidential information. So just one second here. I'm going into audiences. Okay, share my screen. So what you can do here is create your audience, go into custom audience. And what you want to do is you want to, if they already have a list, I'm guessing a lot of them don't have it, but you can upload a customer list. Website, You can actually just literally do all website visitors in the past 30, 60, or 90 days. You can also do a custom audience for anybody who is in the Facebook page here, in their Instagram page. You can do that. I have one here, see Facebook engaged, Instagram engaged. And I also like to do custom audiences for videos. So I just have a whole bunch here that I was testing out, but you know, honestly, ThroughPlay is totally fine. Like just having a video view audience of, let me see if I can edit it here really quick for you. Just keeping it really, really simple and doing like a video view audience of people who have, whoops, let me see if I can pull it up here. One moment. Let me do create custom audience video. Yeah, here. People who have completed or visited 15 seconds of your video, and then you have to go in and choose all the videos. I'll just do 180 days actually. So for a local client, I'll do ThroughPlay and I'll choose every single video on their page. And oh, by the way, every time you add a new video to an ad account or to their page, you have to go in here and you have to select it. So don't make that mistake and just run it and it's like no videos have been selected. So for a local client, I would do video views ThroughPlay 180 days. I would do visited all of their website 180 days. Everybody who's engaged with their Facebook page, 180 days. Everybody who's engaged with their Instagram page, 180 days. And I would just lump all of those custom audiences into one big retargeting audience and try the message in front there. Because if they're doing a good job with the organic side of it, or they're getting a lot of traffic, or not a lot, but even they're getting some traffic to their site, then you can maybe capture some leads that way. Okay, and so that's a really great way of doing it. But and I do 180 days because most of the times local businesses don't have the volume that, like if I'm doing an info product and I'm selling it to anybody in the world, I can have enough volume that I can run stuff at like 30 days or 60 days or 90 days. But for local, I go for 180 days, and sometimes I do really, really well with those. So great question.
Awesome. I got two more left.
Yeah.
Somebody, let's see, Roger's asking if you do any Facebook ad classes over several days, he'd be interested. So how does he connect with you?
Definitely. I will put my information in the group and I'll let you know, yeah, how we can do more together for sure.
All right. Another one from Joe. So can you create a custom audience based on page visits without a retargeting pixel?
You have to have your Facebook pixel installed on everything. And here's also another value add you can give your clients. By the way, you can say, hey, for a setup fee or something, I will install all the major pixels onto all of your properties so you are ready and you're ready to go, and you're collecting data even if you're not ready to do ads. So get the base Facebook pixel, put it in. It has to be on there because then Facebook can't see the information on there. The pixel is like, it's like the connector that allows Facebook to get the information from the site. And if you don't have it there, it's like a wall, and then Facebook can't, it's not going to do anything. Like it's just not going to be able to help you. But as an aside, this is reminding me of this. It's a great service to add. So get together like the Facebook pixel, the Google pixel, LinkedIn, Twitter, Google Analytics, get those 5 together, and just install it for them. I prefer Google Tag Manager as well. So I will actually just set up a very basic Google Tag Manager for them. Tabitha, people need that. I can do a video on that too. And Google Tag Manager makes it really easy for you to add in all the different stuff for them. So as an added bonus or as an added service for them, you can set that all up for them, make sure everything's firing, and then then they're ready to go as you help them grow as well. Okay.
Awesome.
I hope that helps.
Well, somebody said tag manager training would be great.
Yeah. Okay. Let's
All right, guys.
remind me to do that, Tabitha. It's not, the way I set it up is very simple. Again, I'm trying to keep things as simple as possible for you guys. So
love it. Love it. Love it. So that looks to be the end of all of our questions. Liana, thank you so much for coming in and sharing with all of our members. I can guarantee you that I appreciate it. I'm getting tons of messages already saying how great this was. So
great.
Thank you so much for coming in.
Definitely.
All right, guys,
And
we'll
I'm
get
in
this
the group
replay up soon. We'll get this replay up soon. I'll have some links to some of the things you mentioned. I know you mentioned Cloudflare and Wave Video and Shutterstock and Hotjar, and I'm gonna get links of all those from you, and we'll add those to the replay page. And you guys, if you've got any additional questions for Liana, she is in the Facebook group. Just tag her in there. I'm telling you, anytime we have Facebook issues, you can tell you herself. We always go to Liana for any of those. So.
Great.
All right, guys. Well, we'll see you guys next time.
Okay, bye.
Bye.